So last night, America was shocked. I wasn't shocked. Jason wasn't shocked. You probably weren't shocked as well. As, of course, a celebritard came out and said some insane, crazy things about Michael Jackson. Of course, we're talking about Barbra Streisand, who came out and said, quote, that Michael Jackson's sexual needs were his sexual needs coming from whatever childhood he has or whatever DNA he has. She also went on and said, quote, you can say molested, but those children, as you heard say, they were thrilled to be there. They both married and they both have children, so it didn't kill them. Shocking comments, which I believe, Jason, shed a light on a bigger problem that, of course, no one really wants to realize, that the mainstream media time and time again covers up for, but highlights that a lot of people in Hollywood are sexual predators or pedophiles, and they justify it in sick, insane ways. And I think we got a window into how they justify it. Now, of course, there's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of things to get into. But wow, just incredulous statements, to say the least, Jason.
Yeah, so let's start with the apologies. They came pretty quickly. She's now talking about the fame-hungry parents, and I didn't really mean these comments. And no, you did. You meant them. And I really want to speak to that, Luke, because you talked about the shockingness. It wasn't really shocking to me and my brother. My brother was over last night. We were talking about it, and he's like, I was just kind of shocked she was so honest. That's how they really feel. They're not idiots. They know what's going on around them. Don't you understand? That's really how they feel. They're like, what do you mean? So what, he was molesting kids? Who cares? He sings great songs. He sells a lot of records. Yep. People love him. He's allowed to.
And we saw the same thing with Roman Polanski and Kevin Spacey, which is important to highlight here as well. And that's the kind of ego-crazed mindset that this celebritard culture perpetuates. And this is why the mainstream media is, guilty a part of it. Sorry, Jason, keep going with your analysis on this.
Well, again, look at it now. Now she's made to backpedal. Don't you understand? She's the original A Star Is Born. That was in the news again. Lady Gaga played a movie based on her. She can do whatever she wants. Michael Jackson can do whatever he wants. Bryan Singer can do whatever he wants. If you're a famous person that makes movies and music people love, that's okay. If you're a billionaire, do whatever you want. And if you're in high-level politics, please take my children home and do unspeakable things to them, because you're entitled to. Don't you understand? We're a higher class of people. That's what people should be hearing when they see comments like, it didn't kill him. He's a sexual being. Let me ask you something, Luke. Is there a human being alive that is not in some way, shape, or form a sexual being?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I think it's also important to highlight both sides of the story here, because there are conflicting reports against the whole Michael Jackson thing. But I think the evidence is very clear in one side. But before we get into that, there's been a lot of reactions from this. We have Zach Braff, who even tweeted, Barbra Streisand just hold my beard, the whole Mueller report. And people, of course, are having a heyday. But again, this is an epitome of a bigger problem here that is rampant in Hollywood, with, of course, them thinking that they're better than you, that them thinking that they could get away with things, because they have for decades, until, of course, the internet, where people could actually see and vet things and highlight things. That happens in Washington, D.C. Big money allows special rules and special laws for you to get away with things. Going on here with some of the reactions that I'm seeing, people are saying thoughts and prayers to Barbra Streisand fans during this time. People are just ultimately saying they're sick to their stomach. People are saying that, of course, that this was that this would be a smart political move for Donald Trump to just ignore the Mueller report and tweet to dunk on Barbra Streisand. So the reactions are vast. Everyone's talking about this, and it should spur a bigger national discussion. Now, of course, Barbra Streisand did come out with her official comments, apologizing for this profusely, apologizing a number of times now, saying, quote, I am profoundly sorry for any pain or misunderstanding I caused by not choosing my words more carefully. She adds, I didn't mean to dismiss the trauma these boys experienced in any way. Like all survivors of sexual assault, they will have to carry this for the rest of their lives. I feel deep remorse, and I hope that James and Wade know that I truly respect and admire them for speaking their truth. And again, she keeps going on. She keeps making apologies, which I think is important to highlight. Let's give a fair shake here to all the sides here. But Jason, what do you think about the kind of counter narrative that's being run with some people coming from the Michael family, the Jackson family, and saying that these boys lied, that these boys were in court protecting Jackson, that these boys asked for money, that they changed their stories. What do you think about this kind of counter narrative that's being run against all the allegations against Michael Jackson, and of course this new documentary that came out that really shed a huge light on this?
Well, let me counter you before I get into that. I don't think anything about. I'm not giving her a fair shake. There's nothing about what she just said and she put out through her publicist that is real. None of it. That is the sanitized, I have to backtrack bullshit answer. That's all that was. There's no sincerity in that. Let's stop it there. Then let's go to these two guys that are now featured in Neverland. Like you said, at one point, they testified for Michael Jackson against others who had alleged abuse against them, and they lost in court. So many people are questioning their motives. I can only speak to this. I have not watched Finding Neverland. I have really been meaning to. I am going to. I may even do a long-form interview with Robbie Martin of Media Roots afterwards, after I can look at all the facts. But the fact is, yes, they did testify for Jackson earlier. That is very bad of them, okay? And I believe that was when they were adults in their early 20s. So this was later in life. You know what you're doing as an adult in your early 20s. Now, whether they were still under his spell, brainwashed, I don't know. I can't speak to their experiences. However, like you just said, she apologized. She pivoted. But Vox, who we rarely agree with, rarely, folks. I mean, Vox is as establishment leftist media as it gets. I cannot help but agree with this headline and this story. Why sexual assault victims stay silent. Example 1 million. Barbra Streisand. And now today, Luke, even after all the Streisand talk, Diana Ross. As we scroll down, this is what Diana Ross was tweeting yesterday. This is what's on my heart this morning. I believe and trust that Michael Jackson was and is a magnificent, incredible force to me and to many others. Stop in the name of love. So once again, a celebrity takes the music that we've loved throughout the ages, her hit song, and tries to defend what appears to be on every stretch of the imagination from all available evidence that the public has seen, defend a serial child molester. Why are we allowing this to happen? Folks, listen, that's the line in the sand. You don't defend people that abuse children, period.
Yep, you brought up some very important points here. When I talk about fair shake, I'm talking about covering the story as honestly. And obviously, this was a PR, sanitized, scripted statement to, of course, run defense against the statements, which I do think point a very important kind of insight into the bigger kind of Hollywood thinking. I mean, it happens time and time again. It happened with Roman Polanski when he literally had to flee the country, and there were still people, major celebrities, invoking him, talking about how great he is. Again, it's just absolutely sick. We saw that with Kevin Spacey when accusers came out that he attacked and abused little boys, accusing him of that. The mainstream media came out and just talked about his statement, talking about how brave he was because he was gay. And I'm like, wait, you're missing the bigger point here. He came out as gay because of the accusations that many children had against him for abuse. This is serious here. And this is just something that's evil. I would even call it satanic in some instances, and something that needs to be called out and cleaned out. And this whole ego narcissistic ideology is really prevalent, where these people think they're above you. These people think that they're better than you. These people think that they could abuse whoever they want and get away with it because of their power and their stature, and because of individuals literally just being yes men around them, just literally kissing their butts, sucking up to them, thinking that they're the greatest thing ever. And in reality, they're just human beings with many flaws. And when we look at the kind of upper echelons of our society, a lot of those higher officials, they're usually the most damaged, they're usually the most hurt, they're usually the ones compensating for a lot of internal pain that has happened to them. We talked about this in great detail with R. Kelly, who was obviously abused before. Similar things are coming out with Michael Jackson. And again, it's about understanding this and calling it out for what it really is. And looking at the bigger picture here. That's my take on it. Anything else you want to say, and do you want to close it off, Jason?
Yeah, Luke, I don't know how in the hell you don't equate being a homosexual with being a successful character actor at the time in your late 20s to early 30s and plying a 14-year-old boy with alcohol in your hotel room and then trying to have a sexual relationship with him. You, sir, are out of line, and I think that you may be a little homophobic in that statement. That being said, we do.
That's literally some of the talking points. That's some of the talking points out there, Jason. You have to understand this. That's some of the delusion, insane madness. And again, it's important to look at both sides of the story. The documentary pretty much makes it almost undeniable. And I recommend people watch it. I recommend people question. I recommend people look at all sides of the story here. But there's a lot of evidence, and it's extremely heavy in one side. That's from my opinion. But if you guys think I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. Anything else you want to say, and do you want to close it off?
4 videos a day. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We got 3 over on the backup. We got 1 on the main. Please smash the thumbs up button. Hit those notifications or you won't see the video, and make sure to subscribe to both channels. But folks, other than that, you got to get out there. You got to be the change you want to see in the world.